The Xbox Drive is powered by the You, Me, and Capri Patreon. We want to say thank you to some people, starting with our Diamond executive producers, Slimer Snarf, Lee Navarro, and Jonathan Brown. Also, our Platinum producer, Robbie Bobby Miller. And then to our Gold level patrons, like James Johnson, Jean K, Skinny Matt, Ashley Nicholson, Becky Grockmall, Trucker Sloth, Argo, Ryan Turford, Egg Shen, and Ray Sony Pony Martinez. Thank you everyone for all of your support.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm in my car and you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the man on the moose, and on our journey today, we've launched our YouTube channel. We already smashed past our sub goal, and that's awesome. And I've also bought a TV and I'm having an identity crisis about it, so we'll jump on into the Xbox Drive. Blah, 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 blah.
Greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Whew, Ryan Turford, how are you, my friend? I'm out of breath.
I was a little worried you weren't going to make it to the intro, Sean. I mean, I can't see you, but I could tell from listening to you that you were struggling a little bit there.
Just about to pass out, my friend. Good thing I'm just leaving the hospital, not because I'm sick or anything, but because this is where I work, Ryan Turford. I'm just leaving the parkade, if that's okay with you.
I mean, now we all know where you work now, Sean. It's only a matter of time before we know everything about you just by watching your video. Whereas with me, I'm just in the same place all the time. So no one actually really knows if it's like a weird bunker with weird lighting or if it's just like like a small apartment. Who knows? At this point.
Maybe you're actually in the back of the truck and it's all just a ruse, Ryan. I'm hoping. Do you remember when before like this, we knew the Switch was the Switch and they had like the NX? Remember those like fake photos of like the controller? Do you remember that?
I remember a lot of fake Switch controllers, but regale me of whatever tale you're thinking.
Okay, so there's this oval shaped one. Everybody thought that because it looked like the patent thing that they had going out. Anyway, long story short, there was a reflection on the glass of that controller that looked like it had a tree. And then somebody went like, well, that tree looks a lot like this tree sitting outside of this developer's building, so that's definitely true. And I'm like, I've always thought that people are going to do that with the YouTube channel now. They're going to see like bits and pieces of where I'm driving. They'll be able to triangulate where I live, which is a terrible thing to say out loud, but here we are.
I mean, you've already mentioned what city you live in multiple times on the show, so it's not like
that's true.
It's not like they don't know. It's just now they kind of like they're starting to put the pieces
really
together.
It out.
They're starting to figure out who you really are in real life. Who is real Sean Capri, and who is this?
Well,
person?
Thankfully, we have a lot of Xbox stuff to talk about to distract people from trying to track me down. We can focus on video games instead.
That was a good segue. Let's get out of this conversation.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Let's clear the garage a little bit because, Sean, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So first off, thank you to everyone watching or listening. Not me, Sean. Thank you to everyone who's watching and listening to the Xbox Drive, who came out and subbed to the YouTube channel, who liked the video, who left all the really nice and thoughtful comment on the video. Both Sean and I were just, taken aback by the positive feelings from everyone in the community with the launch of the channel. And we wanted to personally just say thank you to all of you who came out and did that. Again, like you alluded to in the intro, we smashed the goal. Goal number one was to get 100 subscribers so we could get the custom URL, which is not implemented yet because YouTube requires your channel to be live for 30 days.
Didn't think we were going to hit it that fast, man. Holy cow. We should have fired up the YouTube channel actually a month ago. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I had honestly forgotten about that because my personal YouTube channel, I have a custom URL at 50 subscribers, but that's because I made it in 2008. So, I mean, that's when everyone got their own URL back then. So I wasn't entirely sure how it was going to work nowadays. So for now, it's still youtube.com/gobbledygook. We'll leave it the link in the show notes. But at some point, we're going to change it to youtube.com/theextradrive. Thanks to everyone at home for doing that. As a result of that, Sean, we did have a 3-month Game Pass giveaway code to give away. And we're gonna announce the winner right here. They might know already because I don't know when you're contacting them. But the winner of this,
you got to listen to the show. We're not just gonna hit you up in the DMs. You gotta contact us back.
Okay,
dear listener.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The winner is Jams Games Jams Games has won.
Oh, Jams Games, nice.
Yep, we did the random drawing before the show started. So congratulations to Jams Games for the win. And yeah, you're gonna have to contact Sean. Sean will hook you up with the code, and we'll go from there. Or if you talk to me, I'll give you the code instead if you want to. But Sean, he's more approachable. He's more friendly, and he's got less.
I don't know about that. You're very approachable.
I don't know about that.
I mean, you deal with my crap, so like that's got to count for at least a little something.
Good point. So we do have
but
more
Ryan,
codes.
Should we keep going? Let's keep going. Get more stuff away.
So funny enough, Xbox Canada, our friends at Xbox Canada, provided us more Game Pass codes to give away. So we're going to be doing this again, but we're going to do something a little bit special this time. So Sean, if we reach 500 subscribers, we might do a little thing. What's that thing?
Let's give away a year of Game Pass. 3 months is cool, but a year of Game Pass is even cooler. Let's do it, man. 500 subs, 1 year of Game Pass. We're going to do it. We're going to smash through that. I mean, we hit 100 subs within like the first day, I think. So I have no doubt that we'll hit 500 in no time flat.
Very nice. So yes, friends, listeners, viewers, when we hit 500 subs, we'll run another drawing of all the subscribers, and you have a chance to win a year of Game Pass. So definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. I mean, not just because of the code, but also we're going to put out some awesome content as well. So it will definitely be worth it. But yeah, so that's an awesome contest we're running now. So you're going to want to get out on that. And yeah, when we hit 500 subscribers, we will make another announcements like this. And who knows, Sean, there might be more giveaways beyond that.
Might be more.
But we'll get to that in a later date. Last thing that I want to announce that has to do with the YouTube channel is we're going to try a live streaming thing from the YouTube channel. So Sean is actually a very prolific live streamer already over at twitch.tv/Sean Capri, but you're not going to get Sean right away. Oh no, sir. You're going to get me, Ryan Turford, the man on the moose, doing live streams. So we're going to do this every Thursday night.
We need some artwork for you. Can we get some artwork for Ryan Turford? If he's going to be streaming and stuff, we need you to have a nice logo of you riding a moose. No. Yes. Oh, I have we not thought of this before. This would be amazing.
I had dreaded the day ever since you gave me that nickname that you would come to the conclusion that we should get art of me on a moose. But I guess it's out there already, so I can't prevent it. But Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the day the show goes live, I'll be streaming on the YouTube channel. This week I'm gonna be streaming some original Xbox games, and I'm gonna have a poll on my Twitter page from at the time you're listening to this that you can vote on which game we play tonight. So again, go to my Twitter page at Ryan Turford on Twitter. Vote on which game you want to see me play tonight, and yeah, we're gonna try this for a little while. We want to do live streaming from the channel, and we hope that you guys want to come out and watch us. So yeah, it'll be me Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look out for that. And last piece of content news as well. The Extra Mile for Star Wars Squadrons has a release date. It's going to be up on the channel on Friday. It was going to go up today, but I kind of got delayed a little bit. And then Crash Bandicoot's Extra Mile, Crash 4, is going to be up on Monday. At the same time as the roundabout. So lots of content going forward on the channel. It was one of those things where I actually planned on having them both out by the time you're listening to this, but it's been a little bit of a hectic week for me. But that's it.
It's fine, Ryan. You don't have to tell them that. They didn't know what the original date was. It's fine. When it goes up is when it goes up. It's just like Gandalf said. It's going to show up exactly when you mean to, or whatever he said. It's pretty close.
Fair enough. That's close enough to the quote that I'll give you a pass on that. But let's do some drive-by shoutouts, which is a new thing on the show, Sean. We're gonna shout out some YouTube comments from last week's show. Going forward, we're gonna try and do this every episode. So if you guys leave cool comments, we're gonna read them here. We're gonna start with Joel Campos, and he says, "Saw someone retweet that you just made your YouTube channel as a primary Xbox gamer. I really enjoyed the episode. I think I'll stick around. Thank you, Joel, for giving us a chance, for checking out the channel, and for subscribing and watching the videos. So, and we hope to keep you here with some awesome content. So thanks for checking us out. And then also we had Travis Hansen Pollock say, "Finally, we have proof that Sean is actually driving. I still don't know how you managed to record such higher quality audio in a car than multi-million-dollar companies working remotely can manage." Ball, because yes, he did the ball again.
I love it.
That's pretty fancy.
Yeah, man. Well, that's a huge kudos to you, man. Like, you are just doing wonderful. Like, the edit on the video is amazing. Like, people can, if you're just listening, you haven't checked out the YouTube. Like, Ryan puts up like the video of the games that we're talking about. Like, you even put up like the Twitter questions that come in and stuff. Like, Like it's not just two talking heads. It's a legitimate, it's a thing, man. It's so good. You've done a wonderful job with it. So keep going, man.
Oh, well, thank you, man. And that was one of the pieces of feedback we actually got the most, I think, with the first video. So we're going to keep doing. In fact, you're going to probably actually see much more gameplay this time around, or much more interstitial stuff on the video itself. On this week's episode, I'm going to try some things. So I hope y'all like them. Or if you don't like them, leave them in the comments and I'll stop doing them.
Listen on Spotify, I guess.
I guess. So Sean, we should grab our 8 tracks and pop them in. It's time for the playlist. Let's talk about the games we're playing this week, because we played some games. But Sean, you returned to an old favorite this week. Tell me about what game you played this week.
I have been meaning to get to Destiny 2 for the longest time. And when it launched into Game Pass with the whole, like, all the expansions are coming into Game Pass, I was like, man, maybe this is my time. Now, I've been playing actually back and forth from PC and Xbox, and I'm loving that the cross save actually works totally flawlessly. I don't know what I was thinking before, but it works perfectly. And it got me actually so excited for Series X, Ryan, because going from 60 frames on PC to 30 frames, which I had mentioned this to the chat at twitch.tv/SeanCapri, that Xbox is capped at 30, and so is PlayStation as well, capped at 30 frames per second. They're like, really? Like, even on the One X? And it's like, yeah, it really is. And it is a huge, huge difference. And so I don't say it to disparage like the console experience, but more so to go, that's why I'm excited for Series X, is the games that I'm currently playing are going to get such a huge boost. And we're going to talk about more of that later on in the show. But it's a massive, massive difference. Anyway, playing Destiny 2 and just learning a lot. I want to give a quick shout out to Backaridge, Jace over at twitch.tv/Backaridge with a K. He has been walking me through. He's been my Destiny 2 Sherpa. Very, very patient with me as he teaches me all the things to do with Destiny. And this is as far as I've ever been, man. Normally I just kind of go through the story and that's it. And he's teaching me all the different ways to like really move past the, I guess, the level caps. This is it, man. I don't even know what's going on. I don't understand what the story is, but it's got to be one of the best feeling shooters out there. So smooth, so great. It looks amazing. And I'm excited now. All of a sudden, like, we've got more content coming for Destiny 2 on November 10th, right alongside Series X, and it launches into Game Pass. So I've been having a lot of fun with it, man. That's awesome. So I have 2 questions for you, Sean. Number 1, is this going to change which game you play first on your Series X? Could Destiny 2 be the first game you play on your Series X? And then number 2, do you think that this is probably, since you're a new player or a returning player, do you think this is a good point for people to jump in, or should they actually just wait for November 10th? Oh, they should definitely wait till November 10th. I'm doing it all wrong. But I don't know. I just kind of have a bit of an open space here. Like, there's not really anything else that's caught my eye that's new that's coming out. And I sort of bounced in and out of Tony Hawk and Squadrons. This is one I probably put in like 20 hours in the last week, as I had a bit of a holiday over the Canadian Thanksgiving weekend, which was really nice. So yeah, people should wait. This is a bit of a waste because I don't even think I'm going to max out where I can be to the point where on November 10th, newcomers and people who have sort of lapsed will be able to, they'll get leapt up. They'll get a nice boost. So they're all starting from the same spot. Oh. But what was the other question you asked?
Is this going to change whether you play Destiny 2 first now with your Series X, or are you going to stick with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, do you think? I'm pretty stubborn, man. I think Assassin's Creed is going to be it, just because it's going to be a brand new experience, but it makes it really complicated. This is why I'm like kind of glad that Halo isn't happening right now. There's lots of big games. Those two games, I'm good with those. Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. And the main reason I wanted to ask the second question is that because I obviously come from MMO backgrounds for stuff like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy. And with those games, the perfect time to play them is the time before the next expansion comes out, because not everyone is just automatically leveled to the newest level whenever the new expansion is out. Like, we're not all in the same playing field. Oh, interesting. Because you have to level through all the older content first before you play the new content. So that's the reason I asked that question, because in MMOs, it's the opposite of what you're describing. Because with World of Warcraft right now, with the new expansion coming out, they just launched the pre-patch this week, and that's the perfect time for people to play, so they actually get caught up. So that was kind of the reason I asked that question. That sounds harder. Yeah, that sounds harder. It definitely does. But Sean, you did something else that was cool this week. That was not a specific game that you played. Tell me about that. I am ready for next gen. I have purchased a new TV. I got an LG, the NanoCell something. Chelsea, my wife, she sent me out for to grab something from Home Depot, and guess what? Costco's right around the corner. So I was like, maybe I'll just see what they've got there. And that's how it went down, man. I mounted it last night.
And Ryan, the whole crisis I was screaming about at the start of the show has to do with my setup. It's overly complicated, and I'm frustrated with HDMI standards, and they continue to change, and everything is outdated. If I connect my Xbox One X directly to the TV, everything's great. But I really want to connect it through my home theater so I get the surround sound, the Dolby Atmos, and everything else. But the problem is while my receiver does 4K, it does not do 4K and HDR. I basically have to pick one of the two, and I was up until probably 1 a.m. last night just trying to figure out, like, I thought this was possible. It says it can do Dolby Vision, which it can do, and apparently it can do 4K HDR on video, but not games. Anyway, I don't want to get into all of it because it's a mess, but I just want to, I say this and I talk about this as a cautionary tale to people. Like, just like do some homework. Hopefully it's not as complicated for you as it has been for me. But like this is new territory for us in console land, where you really have to make sure that your display is correct. That you're going to get everything that you can out of your console. I think in the past the biggest thing we would have to worry about is it a 720p or 1080p TV. You know, like back in the day where we had 1080i, and what the hell does that even mean?
Yeah.
So just check your specs. Things are really complicated when it comes to HDR, and like is it HDR or HDR10? So I just encourage people to do a little bit of homework, and of course reach out to us on Twitter as we're going through this. I'm learning a lot. I don't know if you've faced anything similarly as you've upgraded any of your gear, Ryan Turford.
So I actually, when I upgraded my 4K TV, or upgraded to a 4K TV, that was the first time I had bought a new TV since in like years, like since I bought my first HD TV. So for the most part, I didn't really find any complications other than figuring out what HDMI ports were for 4K and which ones weren't. But otherwise, it was pretty much the same. But I'm also I don't have a huge home theater or anything like that. I have a sound bar on my TV, but I don't have, because I have a small apartment, so I don't need anything
I'm
large.
to the point where I just want to throw out all the speakers, Ryan. I just want to like sell them. I'm at the point where like last night I was just so frustrated. I'm like, well, I guess I just don't have surround sound anymore. And maybe I'll just do the sound bar. Maybe I have to walk away from that time in my life.
That just doesn't sound like fun at all.
I know. They're awesome. It sounds great. And it's, oh man. Yeah. I feel defeated a little bit. Yeah. So we'll see.
But one of the nice things I like about my TV though, and this is the way it works with my soundbar, is it has an HDMI port on the TV itself that is specifically used just for audio. So that's what I use.
Yeah.
All I do is plug my soundbar into that, and I have no problems. It was when I was using like optical to set everything up or routing my Xbox through the bar that's where I had problems. But but using like the audio return channel HDMI port kind of fixed things for me. So
yeah, just you don't get the full, like I'm really picky about that sort of thing, and that's why I love the podcast on the PSVG network, Game Tech, because they get into all of that stuff, and Dev and Donnie and everybody is like, they're so good about explaining all that stuff. So I'm just kind of reeling with some of that, and also like the reason I mentioned the LG NanoCell is because it does 120 hertz
that's
at
awesome.
4K, I think.
Yeah,
I think it does that.
I was actually looking at those TVs the other day, so I think.
Oh man, so good. Yeah,
I'm super jealous. I'm going to buy my TV next year with my new console, but I'm waiting a little bit because I mean consoles are really expensive, Sean. I kind of just want to wait until
Ryan,
next year.
I need to tell you a secret.
What's that?
Costco has a 3-month return policy. There's a good chance this thing is going back. I might be doing a little side-by-side testing, if you know what I mean.
Oh no.
We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I can try it out. I did the same thing when I got the One X, and I just ended up using my 1080p TVs ever since. But there was a time period where I'm like, how good is this? Let's see. Let's check this out. So I sort of rented a TV from Costco. So this might go back. This might not be my permanent purchase, but we'll see. Stay tuned.
Very nice, my friend.
I wouldn't just buy a TV not on Black Friday. You know what I mean? Who does that?
I mean,
wait till Black Friday. Be smart. Yeah.
So as for me,
well, people who want to see their day one Series X looking good.
Exactly.
Okay, what about you?
So I played a whole bunch of games this week, Sean. I should probably get to them before we get too far into the show. Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition is out this week. We were sent a review code from Xbox to take a look at. I've played a ton of Age of Empires before. I played through the full campaign. This time around, though, with the Definitive Edition and the timing of things, I didn't really get too much time to play with the game this week. Yeah. But it's a game that I recommend people who like real-time strategy games, who are looking for something just a tad more complicated than something like StarCraft, because it has like
no kidding
to go over and stuff. I think it's a super fun game and definitely a game worth checking out. Plus, it's going to be in Game Pass. at the time you're listening to this. I think it's already out, actually.
You know what, man? I bounce off of it pretty quickly. Like I don't think the game does a very good job to introduce you to it. So even if I think you've got to be really familiar with the Age of Empires type of real-time strategy game to jump into it. You've got to have kind of played it recently or have enough muscle memory to help you out. But I had a really hard time going like, wait, what do I do? Who does what? What's the build order? It doesn't have the same kind of like introductory missions that a game like StarCraft had.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'd say it's like a teeny bit more than StarCraft, because there's a little bit more to manage than a game like StarCraft. But the difference with Age of Empires, and one of the things I like about Age of Empires versus a game like Warcraft, for example, is that Age of Empires is more about building a giant castle with like walls and doors and stuff like that, and like basically defending your fortress, versus a game like Warcraft, which is trying to take different points on the map strategically as possible and then building specific units to counter your enemy's units. Like it's a very different, like it's more of a metagaming thing with Warcraft, whereas with a game like Age of Empires, it's a very different feeling game, I think. And that's why I like it a lot, and why I encourage people to at least check it out, because I do think it's a different enough game that even if you weren't into a game like Warcraft or something like that, but you like RTS games, then I definitely think this is going to be up your alley. And I definitely think it rewards you for putting some time into it and learning all the systems and mechanics and stuff like that. So it definitely was a lot of fun. I just didn't play too much because I was kind of not in the mood for this type of game this week. But at the same time, I'm kind of in this weird limbo like you right now, where after I finished Crash 4 and Star Wars, I'm kind of like bouncing between stuff as well. I saw the trials went up for both FIFA 21 and NHL 21. So I wanted to give them a try this week. I mean, both games aren't really getting Series X versions or anything like that. So, well, I should say FIFA is getting a Series X version, but not NHL for whatever reason. I don't really know.
Yeah, because Canada.
Exactly. But I mean, I like playing those games, so I wanted to try them out this year.
Me too.
Both are really fun. And NHL itself, I thought about buying it after they announced NHL 94 Rewind is coming to the game, but I've decided to take your advice and kind of just waiting for it to go into the vault, I think.
Just do your trial. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's so much coming out, and they're giving you 10 hours. You already pay for it. Like, definitely. I didn't realize NHL was up. I downloaded FIFA. I want to jump into it, but FIFA and NHL, those are my sports games, man. I'm not much of a Madden player as much as I would love to be, because I like NFL, but those are the ones, soccer and hockey.
And FIFA, I put the trial down because I was like, okay, I'll put a few hours into this and then wait till the next gen version is available, and then I'll use the rest of my trial then to play the next gen version and kind of compare and contrast. And also will want video for comparisons. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. And ultimately, I just wanted to have some fun with some sports games, and I played those this week. But last thing that I want to talk about real quick before we get into the news, this morning, that the day we're recording this, the Kingdom Hearts Melodies of Memories demo went up, Sean. The Kingdom Hearts rhythm game, and holy crap, Sean, I am going to play this game a ton, because I love the demo. It is amazing. It is everything I wanted.
I had no idea you were excited about this game. That's awesome. That's good to hear. I didn't know that.
The thing about this game in particular, first of all, I think you know, I've told you before, Sean, I'm not into Kingdom Hearts at all. Like, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts fan of any kind, but one thing has always been consistently good about Kingdom Hearts, and it's the music. I've always really liked the music in Kingdom Hearts. And
that main theme is gorgeous, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So with this game, it's kind of a spiritual successor to the Final Fantasy rhythm games, which are Final Fantasy rhythm games that were on the 3DS, which I really liked as well. And basically, this game just is a consoleized version of those games, but with the Kingdom Hearts motif and music score, essentially. So in the demo, there's 4 different songs. You can play them at 3 different difficulty levels. I already basically, like this afternoon, I basically played for an hour and went through all 3 difficulty levels for all 4 songs. And I'm in love with this game already, Sean. I can't wait for the full version. And it comes out the same day as Call of Duty. So it's going to be a tough choice, but I'm thinking of maybe picking this up over Call of Duty when Call of Duty comes out. So, I mean, we'll see though. Because again,
there's that beta happening this weekend too. So
there's that. I already have it installed on my console. I'm ready for it this weekend. But yeah, I love rhythm games and music games. So having a new rhythm game that's awesome come out, I'm stoked for this game. I can't wait for the full version. And if you want to check this out, folks, again, the demo's on Xbox Live. You can go check it out right now for there. But let's slam the brakes on this conversation, Sean, because we've been going long enough. It's time for some breaking news. And we got a lot of news to talk about this week. Let's start with the performance roundup of a bunch of Series X previews that went up this week, Sean, because a bunch of press outlets finally could talk about Series X specific games So we learned some interesting things. Number one, we learned that Dirt 5 can run at 4K 120 if your TV supports it. There's also 3 visual mode. Actually, this is a misprint, I think. It runs at 1440p at 120, but 4K is locked to.
I'm pretty
60.
sure they were saying in the article. There's a Eurogamer Digital Foundry article. I'm pretty sure they said 4K 120 hertz. I'm like, that's what I was tripping up with before. I'm like, I didn't think that was a possibility, but I think that's there.
I thought it was 1440, but again, nonetheless, that's still impressive, regardless of which one of those two it is. I mean, 120 frames games on consoles right there is an amazing feat.
Oh, hi there. Can I please get a medium decaf coffee with 2 Splenda and a large Diet Coke, please? A large Diet Coke? Yep, that's all. Sure, it'll be $4.65. Thank you, Ryan. I wanted to ask you about now that I'm here. I was thinking that maybe we should make it a special Patreon tier that somebody gets to choose what my order is going to be for the month. Like I could just end up with a whole bunch of food.
I mean, you could do that. You could do it for the clicks, Sean, because we need the clicks.
I do it for the clicks. Definitely for the clicks. Yeah, for sure. Also, if McDonald's wants to sponsor us, maybe I should be going to Taco Bell. That's the other thing I was thinking about. You should do the whole Xbox tie-in.
It's true.
On debit, please. Yeah.
They are also giving away to Xboxes at Taco Bell. That is an actual thing. But getting back to Dirt 5, there's also 3 different visual modes, one for frame rate, another for image quality, and then finally the 120 hertz mode.
That's crazy.
And yeah, I mean, Digital Foundry again has an entire video breaking this down, which is super interesting to watch. So go definitely check it out if you want to see this. I would say that, and this is kind of the criticism that was bouncing around, is that it doesn't look on paper like it's a next gen game. But I think running in motion and getting to see it at native 4K at that frame rate, I think that's what's really going to be the game changer for a lot of people. But it's also a launch game too, where I think people are just expecting too much of launch games looking like this mind-blowing experience, because with launch games that almost never happens. Like it's very rare to get that type of game. And especially from a third-party developer in particular, because I remember again playing like Assassin's Creed Black Flag on Xbox One versus the Xbox 360 version, and they looked pretty much the same. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect too much from all this stuff, which kind of segues us nicely into the next thing. Yakuza Like a Dragon also has 3 visual modes on Xbox Series X. It has a normal mode, which is 1440p at 60 frames, and it's basically locked at that frame rate. High resolution, which is basically 4K 30 locked, and then high frame rate, which is 1080p at kind of an uncapped frame rate, I guess. So ultimately, it looked really nice. I honestly haven't seen really anything about this game at all. I've kind of been keeping myself away from it, especially because I'm not really into the Yakuza games. But this game looks dope, Sean. Like I'm super excited to try this. I'm surprised.
Yeah, isn't it turn-based? Is that the combat style for this one?
It's a turn-based RPG. It looks like Persona.
So weird. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, aren't you outraged, Ryan, by these visual modes? That's a lot of to your point, like about the comments and everything going around. It's like, why don't we have 4K 60 locked and everything? I don't know, man. I think that Dirt experience is going to be, like you said, when you get your hands on it. I think it's going to play totally differently, just like the whole Destiny thing I was talking about before. When you go to 60 frames, like when you double the frames, it's completely different. And it's just we look and we judge numbers on a page instead of judging like what does the game actually look like. And I'm kind of tired of that kind of garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, even like the 360 generation, I remember back, and what was big about the 360 games at launch wasn't so much them visually looking better than original Xbox games. It was the amount of things in the environment. That was kind of the thing. So, for example, a game like Cameo had like hundreds of enemies in the environment, or a game like Dead Rising, where there's just hundreds of zombies that you couldn't do on the original Xbox. And that was like the main difference with those early launch 360 games. And I would imagine it's actually going to be more of that type of situation, at least probably for the first year of these consoles going forward. We might see stuff like Ratchet, which I think is probably one of the most next-gen things we've seen so far. But for the most part, I would say that this is going to be the type of experience you're going to see across the board. And I kept my expectations in check. I mean, I assumed, knowing other console launches, that this would be kind of how the way it would play out. But some people
kind of the way it goes. Yeah.
That it would be the other way. But 2 other games we want to talk about real quick. Fallout 4 now runs at 60 frames per second on Xbox Series S and X. which is kind of
That's awesome. Even on the S too. I want to see more of that. I'm seeing like rumors and stuff going around, which we're not really going to talk about today. But like, what is confirmed is that like what's happening on the Series X, in terms of like what influencers have and like the Jeff Grubbs and the Jez Cortons of the world. They're really talking about the Series X, but we're hearing some like weird stuff coming up about the Series S. We're going to wait until all of that stuff is confirmed before we really start to dive into the performance of the Series S.
For sure. And between the two of us, we're going to have a Series X and X between the two of us. So we will be that's one of my plans for the YouTube channel is to do videos of us doing comparisons like this. So you can expect that type of content from us when the consoles are in our hands officially.
Good thing we have a YouTube channel.
It's a good thing we have a YouTube channel for sure. Like it'd be hard to do all that all over audio. That's for sure. That's for sure. And last thing I wanted to touch on real quick. This was kind of cool and kind of out of nowhere. Xbox Series X runs Assassin's Creed Unity at 60 frames per second. But there's a caveat to this because this is only with the disc version of the game because it has an uncapped frame rate and only if it's unpatched. Because there's a patch that Ubisoft put in to lock the frame rate at 30 frames per second. So that's how they actually managed to achieve the 60 frames per second. Because if you do a download of the digital version, it's already up to date. It has that patch in.
There's a fascinating video. I think it was Digital Foundry on that one as well. Fascinating video to talk about how that all came to pass and how they started development well before they actually had they basically had to estimate what the performance of the Xbox One and the PS4 was going to be. So they built it based on a guess. And then once they got, I think their dev kits or when they got the real like final units, they had to scale back. And so there's a fascinating outline on like why that ends up being like a gorgeous looking game because they were striving towards like kind of an on target, like they couldn't hit the target that they were setting. So it's really kind of, I don't know, there's a link in the show notes for sure. I definitely highly recommend people checking it out. And the way that they even found that, the fact that it is, that they wanted it to be uncapped frame rate, but they had to patch that out of it because of performance issues once they got further down into development. But that exists on the disc, and that's fascinating to me, man. It's a really cool video. Lots of great stuff coming out of Digital Foundry this week.
For sure, my friend. Well, let's jump into a couple quick stories before we get to the carpool. First one, my most anticipated Series X game finally got dated, Sean. The Medium finally has a release date. It will launch exclusively on Xbox Series X and S on December 10th. I am so hyped for this game.
And into Game Pass, right?
And into Game Pass, day and date. In fact, you can already preload it now from Game Pass if you wanted to. But then it's awesome. But then it'll give you an error message because you're trying to install it to an Xbox One, and it doesn't work that way.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I mean, it's
nice.
But yeah, I'm so looking forward to this. They released a new trailer this week for the story. It looks awesome.
So just to get you into the Christmas spirit. Perfect timing.
Yeah. The Christmas spirit, it's the latest game that we know is coming out this year. So yeah, I mean, it's the true Christmas experience of scaring your pants off with a haunted house. But I'm super hyped for it. And then last story I kind of wanted to touch on, Mortal Kombat 11 is getting a new combat pack featuring Rain, Molina, and Rambo, who is actually voiced by Sylvester Stallone. It's not pre-recorded lines. He re-recorded everything himself.
That's awesome.
In addition to that, it's getting a free next-gen update for anyone who already owns the game for Series X with 4K digital dynamic resolution, crossplay with all the other platforms, and other visual enhancements. Both will be available on November 17th, and there's going to be an Ultimate Edition of the game that includes all the DLC already. So if you haven't already jumped in on Mortal Kombat 11, which I totally think you should if you like fighting games, this is going to be an awesome package to pick up day one because it also includes the expansion Aftermath, which came out this year that I also really liked. And these new characters are really cool, especially Rambo can now fight the Terminator in a video game, Sean. I mean, that's real life. This is the life we live.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that. That's amazing.
Also, Rambo can also fight RoboCop. That's also a reality as well.
Holy crap. You actually might be convincing me because I'm kind of just like, okay, cool. I'm excited for people who are excited about Mortal Kombat, but that's kind of a big deal, man. It's kind of like the, I don't know, the violent version of Smash all of a sudden. Like just anybody's in it. Like everybody's here. Everybody's in this game.
Exactly. All right. Last thing, actually, I lied a little bit with saying that was the last thing. Last thing now is that new games are coming to Game Pass, and I wanted to highlight these real quick.
This is good. So, yeah, definitely.
On October 15th, we have Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, which I just talked about, Heave Ho, Katana Zero.
Yes, I've been waiting for that one. That's the one I've called for the longest time. I'm like, I cannot wait for that to hit Game Pass. Finally, it paid off. My patience is paying off, my friend.
Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, which is
also very
super exciting. That's one of my favorite RPGs on the 360, and I definitely recommend people checking that out. The Swords of Ditto Mormo's Curse is also on the 15th. And then on the 21st, we have Scourgebringer. And then on the 22nd, we have Cricket 19 and Super.
Oh, let's go. Let's start 19, the league.
Everybody.
19. What year is it? Cricket 19 is coming to Game Pass?
Apparently that's
what the heck? It's 2020.
I don't know, man.
That's awesome.
Life doesn't make any sense.
You know
anymore.
what? Whatever, man. Yeah, it's cricket.
Actually,
who cares?
I think a few months ago we got like the NASCAR Rally 18 or something like that. Like it was
sure.
It was like a really old. Oh no, it was F1. It was F1 2018 had just come.
Oh yeah, we'll take it.
So we'll take it. All right, let's let some of our friends into the car with us, Sean. It's time for the carpool. We'll start with Fiona MacKinnon at Zeranix. She asks, "Hey Xbox Drive, I'm a big fan. Question for you guys. After purchasing Discord Nitro, I was provided 3 months of free Xbox Game Pass. Any recommendations on what I should play first? Thank you again. I love you guys." So Sean, I'm going to start with you. What games should Fiona check out first?
Fiona, I love Fiona. She has been a wonderful supporter and a dear friend. She was actually, my goodness, we met back on We the Gamercast back in the day doing some E3 predictions. Rest in peace, E3. Okay, Fiona has a particular taste in games. Like she plays games like Darkest Dungeon and stuff like that. So I'm like, I started to think about like what's a good game for like Fiona. And I think Slay the Spire is on Game Pass, which would be pretty good for her. And I wrote a couple down because I knew I would totally forget in this moment. So if you could help me out in terms of like I can't remember what else I wrote down.
You also put down Slay the Spire and then Wasteland 3.
Wasteland 3 she would love. Yeah, for sure. Because she likes XCOM as well.
Okay. Ori. So any of the Ori games.
Everybody should play Ori.
I mean, everyone should play those anyways. And Spiritfarer was the other one you had.
Spiritfarer, which I hope to have more to talk about next week. I'm just dipping into that one. That might be one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played, man. I am really enjoying my time with it. And I think she would appreciate the hugs that you can give the cat.
Very nice, my friend. My picks, I mean, first of all, it kind of depends on your personal taste. And since I just don't know Fiona taste too well, I don't know what type of game. I was actually looking this up on my phone, though, because there's one game that you were mentioning she likes Darkest Dungeon. And I know there's one game I think that would be perfect for her. I think it's called Vambrace Cold Heart. I played it a long time ago. Vambrace Cold Soul was the game I'm referring to. It's on console and PC, and it's got this awesome like hand-drawn art style, and it plays exactly like Darkest Dungeon. So if she actually likes games like Darkest Dungeon, check that out. I heard a rumor though that Fiona also likes horror games, so she should play Man of Medan from Supermassive Games
good call.
well.
She does like horror games. I think she was just streaming Until Dawn, so good call.
There you go. That's the perfect progression right there, is to jump into Man of Medan if she hasn't played that, which is also on Game Pass. Next up, Jason C. at jcarpingabout says, "Can you talk about the confirmed list of launch games and your interest level on each one?" There's going to be a lot of games to go through, so I don't know where I have time to go through all of them.
Do you want to do an extra mile on that actually pretty soon? Like we can do like a let's look forward to the launch of Series X. Like we should do that.
Yeah, I think that might be,
go through,
Jason, I think we might save your question for a more expanded episode, I think. Because
yeah, that's a good one,
just because we're running out of time also, and I want to give your questions justice. Plus, we might know probably in the next week or two more of the launch lineup, because we also don't know when games like Scorn and stuff are coming out yet. Like we don't have exactly release for those. So
I think even just day one though, there is a bunch of games coming out on day one that we do know about that are worth talking and giving that sort of attention to for sure. So I think we should chat tomorrow, Ryan Trifford. Maybe before or after your stream. Maybe we could do a little something. Yeah.
Next up, Co-op Mode Podcast at Co-op Mode Pod asks, what OG Xbox or 360 games do you want rescued from the non-backward compatible abyss to play on Xbox Series S or X? Sean, what games would you like to see get rescued here?
First I was going to talk about like the sports games and like NHL from back in the day and Tiger Woods, and obviously that isn't possible. A lot of the Guitar Hero, I don't think any of the Guitar Hero games can come over, so that's another.
Rock Band as well.
So, yeah, licensing stuff. Oh, by the way, speaking of Rock Band, if anybody even likes Rivals, that will be carrying forward to next gen. So that's kind of. I'm
very excited about that because I have 3,000 pieces of DLC for Rock Band 4 on Xbox.
God,
and they're all. I mean, they've been carrying with me since the original Rock Band, John. They're going to carry with me to the new console.
I love it. Well, yeah, good thing the external drives all work out. But I don't know what is going on with Ultimate Alliance, but like that got pulled down from the store famously a couple of years ago. I would love to be able to put in the discs. I still have them from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, put that into my Series X, I think that would be amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I had picked those up on PlayStation for some reason when Activision did the re-releases. And it was weird that they pulled them down. But it was also around the time too when they pulled down Transformers Devastation and Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. Those were all games from Activision that were all licensed.
What the heck?
I think Activision just signs very short license deals with their licensed properties. And I think that's just why they get pulled down super quickly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, for me, the thing is that the games that I want to come back, I mean, my number one pick would have been Scott Pilgrim, but we know that's coming back. I mean, for original Xbox games, there's so many to pick from. I mean, because we only have like 30 original Xbox games, I kind of just want most of that library to come back so I can play Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction or even some weird games like James Cameron's Dark Angel or something like that. Some weird stuff.
I was just waiting for you to bring that up, like all this Buffy stuff. I'm just waiting.
I'm thinking about playing. Buffy's on the poll, by the way, for Thursday, Sean.
I know. Oh, man.
But the one thing
is Dead to Rights backwards compatible? I don't know. That might be a good pick for me.
It's not. So that might be a good one as well. Condemned
or 2 Stranglehold.
There's
that John Woo movie from back on the 360. That was a good one.
Condemned 2. We were talking about Condemned on a stream the other day.
Good one.
Condemned Criminal Origins is backwards compatible, but not Condemned 2. So that's another one that I would throw in there.
Good one.
Or any of the old arcade games from Konami that they re-released on 360 that didn't come over. So Turtles, Simpsons, X-Men. I have those all downloaded on my 360 because I purchased them back in the day. But obviously, I would love to see them return. So those would be mine.
Right.
Sir. Last question.
Good question.
Comes from Discord, and it's actually from King KO007. They ask, how well do you expect Halo to make the transition from linear to open world storytelling? I think it'll be an interesting transition. We did see kind of hints of this with ODST, because ODST was a non-linear game, for those that haven't played it, where you explore the city of New Mombasa, and you can kind of play the game in any order. At least from the beginning. And I think that's where at least Bungie tried changing up that storytelling, but 343 hasn't really tried anything like this. I'm curious to see how that all played out. I would imagine it'll be probably pretty smooth, but I would imagine the storytelling will probably take a bit of a hit, as I think it does in a lot of open world games. Sure. But that's just how I feel about it, Sean. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, I hope it doesn't, but that might be like unreasonable to have that sort of wish that the storytelling can still maintain itself. I think number one, I think 343 really has to go for it when they're going, like, if they're going open world, like really go for it. Not like the Gears 5 kind of like we want to take this half step, because I do see Gears 5 opening up big time as it goes into Gears 6. But it needs to really kind of like go for the sky, reach for the sky on this, in which case it's less about if Halo is able to do that and more about if players are going to be okay with that. Because we all know people have like their idea of what Halo looks like in their mind. And I think they're going to be shaking things up quite a bit here. I think they have to. So I think it's less about if the game can pull it off or the devs can pull it off, and more about if gamers are going to be receptive to that.
For sure.
Which I hope they are.
I hope so too. I mean, it's pretty ambitious for them to try it and do like an open world storytelling game with Halo. And I'm just hoping the team can pull it off. I mean, I'm excited for Halo Infinite, and I would imagine it'll be really good. It'll just be interesting to see how they tackle the storytelling. But we got to go, Sean. So before we go, Sean, plugs go.
I'm gonna pull over to the side of the road here and thank everybody for listening. And they can follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri. It's Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. And what else do I say? Twitch.tv/Sean Capri. What about you, man?
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. That's TURFORD, because everybody always asks. Also, you can, if you want to like throw a little tip in the tip jar, patreon.com/me and Capri for Sean and myself as well.
Yeah. And if you like Ryan's edits, if you think this show sounds good, looks good, you want to reward Ryan a little bit, he's part of the Patreon. This is not just me. It's you, me, and Capri Ryan.
I mean,
wait,
I guess.
I'm also the me and the Capri. Anyway.
None of that makes any sense. Also, they can find us on Twitter at the Xbox Drive as well, or our YouTube channel, again, at the link in the description of this video or audio, as I don't want to say the entire name. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 162 of the Xbox Drive, and we out. Bye.
I can't wait to get home and eat some dinner with my wife and family.